I really love most holidays, and I still somehow, by a miracle, quite enjoy Star Wars and Lego. I like Lego. I don't know if that is that obvious that I like Lego. When the three came together in 2011 to make a collaboration between Christmas, Lego, and Star Wars, I was on the hype train. Not only was there a Christmas Yoda, my favorite character with arguably one of my favorite holidays, in one set, but not only that, but then they continued doing it nearly every single year since then. Oh, an amazing assortment of figures have come out because of this, mostly all Christmas themed, with a few exceptions. We're not going to talk about those years because whoever's behind those years clearly hates me specifically. Directly me. Whatever designer came up with that choice at Lego headquarters, they attacked me by doing that. While I am historically terrible at ranking or deciding what my favorite thing of anything is, with very few exceptions, I have all of my Star Wars holiday figures out right now, and I wanted to go through and say which one's the best and why. And the answer, I'm going to be straight up, it's not going to be Yoda. Yoda is not the #1 Star Wars minifigure. Shocker. Gasp. Our worst figure, my least favorite Star Wars holiday figure, is R2-D2 Reindeer Edition. He has 2 antler pieces stuck to the top of his head. Now, the combination of a reindeer, R2-D2, C-3PO, and sled from that year, a great combination. But those minifigures, singularly, both are not my favorite. And this R2-D2 specifically, it's literally just the same figure with head ornament, and that's the lineup for the bottom row of all characters. Single figures with head ornament. Dio just has a Christmas hat. Right above that is a clone trooper with just a Christmas hat. This one's only slightly better in my opinion because it's a full proper minifigure. What's next on the list? BB-8. But get this, with a Christmas hat. He slightly edges out the other just add ornament on top of head figures because he comes with a dark blue snowboard that was exclusive to a Christmas Village set, and those sets get quite pricey. So having an item that was once in a more difficult set in an advent calendar is a pretty good... I mean, I would rather have a completely new, unique figure, but having a somewhat hard accessory is kind of fine. What's not fine is the employee gift coming with a Yoda minifigure. Santa Claus Yoda minifigure for the first time in a decade. That was awesome. Super hyped. Until my hyped found out that it's just a reused Santa minifigure torso from the City lineup. And that was a bit of a bummer. New Santa minifigure combination, great, but it not being exclusive and being some random third-party part just thrown in there, I am just as shocked as you that a Yoda minifigure of any variety would end up so low. The 5th worst spot out of a list of over 30 minifigures. Who would have guessed? Who would have also guessed that he would be edged out by a Porg with a Christmas hat? Now, I have an explanation for this one. The Porg, unlike every other figure, does have an exclusive element to it, and that is the brick in the center. It is somehow never come out in red. Somehow. Only appearing in an advent calendar Porg, which makes it exclusive and difficult to part out. Otherwise, I would own it, and it wouldn't be a JPEG slapped in front of my face right now. Scarf Mando it was a bit of a tough call because the Mandalorian minifigure is by far one of the best Star Wars minifigures made, bar none, period. And while the scarf kind of makes sense for the character because he's so reserved and mysterious and mystique until he's not because season 3, it makes sense in universe. But I don't care about that. I just want an over-the-top festive minifigure that's all kitted out and stuff and not just, oh, it's a bit nippy today, I'll throw on a scarf. Right in front of that is, this one might surprise you. I am lucky enough to have an employee gift, which means I have the Yuletide Pilot, which is a $500-ish figure. So I have an explanation for it being this low on the list. In a vacuum, with no other context, would be Star Warsy out the bottom. It's a completely unique figure. Sans head, because of course it's just going to be another reused Obi-Wan Kenobi head. That head is used on everything, everywhere. I do not know why. Even the green bag is a tiny bit rare, coming in only 4 sets. Except we don't live in a vacuum, and red jumpsuits aren't all that uncommon in Star Wars. There's even been a few versions of it made as figures. This one, again, is exclusive, but when it just looks like a normal jumpsuit, the Christmas feeling is it's not quite there compared to even some of the figures with helmets on their head or Santa hats or whatever. Despite my insane gratitude for owning the figure and my very, very careful nature of keeping it safe, more so than most figures I've ever had, I can't let its its price tag warrant a higher spot on the list. This middle section of figures is almost entirely consisting of sweater minifigures. I like them. I enjoy the sweater concept. It's a neat thing to have a ton of different figures throughout Star Wars history and timelines all be compiled together and connected through different ugly sweaters. But they aren't as interesting or neat as the Santa Claus gimmick that they used to do when they originally started this whole thing. Rey, Poe, and Finn, while I do like the sweater designs, aren't that fun. The Millennium Falcon might be the best torso out of the three. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up with these ones where it's just you know, the feeling. R2-D2 and 3CPO are next up on the list. 3CPO only gets bumped up so slightly because he matches R2-D2, and the two being a matching set really go a long way in making them quite a lot more interesting. And R2-D2's torso is very well done. Too bad the head will forever be messed up because I guess they forgot how to make symmetrical heads for astromechs for 10 years now. And this is also the same spot where I put the other 3CPO, the Santa Claus 3CPO. While I enjoy it, it's nice. I like how the head fits over the beard. It's fun. It's just, and it's very Christmassy. It's just kind of a generic Santa jacket, and it doesn't really fit the feel of C-3PO, while almost all of the other Santa Claus minifigures have design elements from their in-universe costumes. The characters' costumes take effect on the designs, and this one's just, he threw an overcoat on. The next two are only at the top of the list, not because they're objectively cooler characters than all the other sweater characters thus far, but their sweaters match perfectly. You have Palpatine with the Death Star and Darth Vader with the Death Star, 1 and 2 respectively. The sweaters themselves are no more interesting than the other ones, but them having matching sweaters and just the idea of one giving it to the other or vice versa, like it's some skit out of a special, it's a funny one, and the matching nature of the two goes a long way. Grogu, Baby Yoda, the child, whatever. He's only higher up on the sweater list, not because his sweater is great, and not because he also has a matching scarf, which is very fun, but he has a red jumper, like a little baby jumper, and that's just slightly more interesting than the other ones. That's why he's this far. Also, the same reason why the Ewok is the next one up, because he is slightly more interesting than the other sweaters. It is just a sweater, but unique Ewoks, or Ewoks in general, do not come along all that frequently. And it being a white one to fit in the Christmas theme is really, I don't know if it's an albino one, or maybe he's from the Northern Hemisphere, where there might be a tiny bit of snow on the Jungle Moon. Probably not. Christmas Chewbacca, not to be mixed up with Snow Chewbacca, or Snowy Chewbacca, whatever, is also really great. There is a weird sense of weirdness. I'm glad I can explain this very efficiently to you and speak how I am thinking. I don't quite have the words to describe the feeling of this. I like it. I really like it. I like the Christmas light pattern. He has a little tiny tree. It's fun, but it being white is unsettling. It's fun, but unsettling. Like, it's so unsettling that this could be much lower on the list, but it's also a really clever redesign of a character. But it's kind of creepy. Maybe it's just like that albino creepy thing. Okay, if the eyes were pink, that would explain why there's a sense of albinos are creepy. Now, there are some that would probably argue that this next figure isn't a Christmas figure. And while you have a point, my rebuttal is, shut up. I don't care what you have to say or think. Go away. Why am I being mean? Beach Vader from the Star Wars special that they put in an advent calendar. A real weird choice to put in. I'm not upset at all. I'm quite happy they did it. And my excuse for it being a Christmas figure, one, it came in an advent calendar. That's more of enough an excuse than I need. But two, it's kind of like the Christmas in July or summer vacation Christmas. I don't want to be in the snow. Let's go somewhere warm for this year for Christmas. The kids moved out. The way I gas up Yoda and covet it, and even though I'm not that fixated on the character itself, it's more so just a childhood favorite that has evolved and become this grotesque thing of collecting. That's why I have so much Yoda crap. What I'm trying to say is Yoda is not, again, in the top 5 even, and he's here. He's a good design. The one that kickstarted it off, I would assume based off of the original Yoda picture that you see every year pop up on Facebook. But being the first Christmas version and not being really designed off of his outfit, he kind of fits the same trope as C-3PO, where, yeah, he's a Christmas character, but it's more so just Santa skin on Yoda, but not Yoda Santa skin. If that makes... I'm saying the same thing as C-3PO, so if I'm not explaining myself well enough, just go back and listen to that. Or don't. Who cares? Most of you clicked off by now anyways. Okay, this is a bit of a cop-out, but I genuinely could not decide between these 3 figures. That is Jango Fett, Darth Vader, and Darth Maul as Santa Claus. All 3 of them do all of the points right. They look like Santa. That's Christmassy. They look like themselves, but in a Christmas attire, and that's what I really, really like. Darth Maul, he has his exact same robes, just red, with a candy cane. Jango Fett probably is the cleanest one of them all. His armor has the same battle damage and everything, but it's all in dark red and silver highlight. It's very well done. Darth Vader honestly probably fits this category the least because he genuinely kind of just looks like he threw on, like literally just threw on a Santa coat, but over his normal attire, which is still fun. Maybe it would have been better if it was his normal attire Santified and not just a coat over his attire, but the combination works. He might be the weakest out of all three of the bad guys that ended up right next to the top, but still, all three of them very well executed. I feel like people that have opinions on things are gonna lambast me for this next one. Now, having the number 2 spot be occupied by an astromech and not even a proper figure seems a bit... It seems stupid when ranking the best minifigures that having an astromech, a non-figure figure, show up at the second top place is ridiculous. I mean, the Christmas tree is really well done. I would have loved for the back of the head also to be decorated, and even the back of the body, but they weren't doing it at this point. But a Christmas tree astromech works wonders. What would be even more silly is making not only the second spot, but the number 1 spot another astromech. The R2 snowman with a coal for the eye, carrots for panels, it's excellently done. It is so well done. My only gripe with this specific minifigure is that there isn't back printing on it because they wouldn't do that for at least another decade. But if it also had back printing, it'd be great. And I wouldn't even have to worry about the head being uneven because it's snow. Snow's not even. It wouldn't even matter. You wouldn't even be able to tell. It is so well executed. I've been enamored by this figure ever since it came out in 2012, and my friend showed me his, and then my brother decided on the spot that he had to have the advent calendar that year, especially since I had it last year. It only seemed fair, and it has somehow stayed in my possession, not my brother's or my friend's, and that is good. Maybe my friend has it. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in like 15 years. My friend, not my brother. And that is my very original idea of ranking everything from a worst to first type list. No one's ever done it before, excluding figures from this year's advent calendar because I'm still doing it daily and I didn't want to put them in my list. I don't care what you have to say. They probably were going to end up somewhere in the middle. Luke and Leia, who cares? I don't even remember what the other brick built thing is. If there's even a brick built thing, if you remind me, I swear to God, I will not be able to do anything, but I would not appreciate it.